Did you start DJing for the World Class Wrecking Crew?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. It's funny that you say that, of course, because we're talking about the same time when Dr. Dre was forming NWA and he left Lonzo. Lonzo had a DJ audition to take Dre's place, and so
okay,
I did that. A good friend of mine named Richie Rich from the LA Dream Team back in the '80s, he brought me there. I did the audition, won the position, and I never looked back. And that was a unique opportunity for me to find out what my DJ etiquettes could bring me, and it did swell. I had people putting their eyes on me like MC Hammer and Heavy D and Houdini. This is around when hip hop was at its peak of greatness and positivity. Gangster rap was in the makings when I was touring with Lonzo, so it got a chance for me to get familiar for the future.
right. Okay, so as you were DJing for the World Class Wrecking Crew, like I was watching some interviews with different people or whatever, and
Hmm.
one of the reasons why I heard Dre, this is from one of the interviews I seen, why Dre left the World Class Wrecking Crew. One, because they wanted to do rap instead of, kind of what the World Class Wrecking Crew was doing. And then also because they weren't, they didn't feel like they were getting the money that they were supposed to, even though Lonzo was saying he was giving them the money, they was just spending it recklessly or whatever. So my question to you is, when you got with the World Class Wrecking Crew, do you feel your pay was what it was supposed to be at for what you were doing?
Yeah, at that time it's a thing called pay your dues. So I had my incidentals, plane tickets was right, I was fed. Uh,
Okay.
uh, all that really happened. Um, it was fair for my DJ service because I wasn't producing at that time, man. But it was a fair exchange, no robbery,
Mm-hmm.
because he gave me opportunity to uh, uh, sharpen my craft. He had a professional studio. I wanted to learn it. He had drum machines. He had keyboards. So it was like the perfect uh, what you want to say, this free classes or university or school for or trade that I can go get to become the producer that I wanted to be at that time. Dre, I looked up to because he was doing it from the wrecking crew, but I had the slightest idea what he was up to when he left.
Right.
And so by getting all these opportunities from Lonzo, I was forever grateful because I didn't have anything like that on the west side. He stayed near Compton. I mean, I stayed in South Central and Crenshaw and Slauson, the same neighborhood where me and Nipsey grew up and from. And
Okay.
so uh, I was glad that he took a chance on me and found some trust in me and respected me enough to be fair.
When did you decide that you should start producing, or what made you start um, adding production to your DJing besides just DJing? Because I work at a radio station. I work with a lot of DJs, and I think all of them are just DJs. None of them produce. So what
Yeah,
made? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. That's basically it's a choice. Like I said, by him giving me the opportunity to develop the different school. I mean, the different not school, but the different trades in the art of making music. He helped me learn the art of recording so I could expand my musicianship because I was a drummer already at first. He just never
Okay.
had a set of drums. He had a drum machine. So
Right.
uh, I would put my drum skills to the drum machine. And Alonzo had Dre over one time, which was his last time, and he was coming to get his turntables, and they was departing, shaking hands, giving each other a pound. They weren't enemies, they just had to go their separate ways, and I happened to witness that, and so Dre showed me how to work the drum machine, and learned how to sequence it and taught me time signature and bars. Now, as a drummer, I was just a freestyle drummer, and I was never taught what bars and time signature was. I just knew my rudiments as far as being a drummer. I never took a trade or learned from a teacher or anything how to play drums. But with him showing me that structure, it helped me become a songwriter because I understood the structure and arrangement of a drum machine. And when I had that information passed down to me, it opened my ears and eyes to how the structure and arrangement music is when you hear it. And I was like, oh, wow, I could do this. So show me how to work the mixer. Alonzo showed me how to work the mixer, how to properly use it, microphones, and plug up all the equipment that was in there. And once I got the hang of it, and he saw that I was good with it, eventually I wanted to make a record. And so the record was an instrumentalist record where you would multi-track a bunch of things from the turntable, acapellas, other people's records. At that time, we could get away with doing overdubs and using other people's copyright compositions.
Right.
The copyright infringement was more open and free, so we was able to put together familiar records to make it go. So it was just a compilation of great blends and acapellas and instrumental records. I made it go on top of the beat that I made, and which introduced me to the first stage of making the record. And once I did that, I just kept the passion and the drive for it until I was able to get my own drum machine. And that's what happened. That's what made me start loving the art of production, because I was taught in school well how to properly work the equipment. And it was the same thing Dre and Cool and Lonzo was doing. So that was it.
Okay, so he kind of like put you on in a way, kind of.
Yeah, he did. I gotta say that there's nothing wrong with admitting that, because this is not a game. This is not an industry where you learn everything by yourself. You know, you're gonna be inspired by someone, and what he did was educate me so I could have opportunity to get in the game.
Right.
I didn't officially get in the game until later when I made, a few records, my first 2 records in the industry that actually plaqued. That's when I have arrived. That's when I was really in the game. But he definitely educated me and got me in the right place where my craft was developed enough to continue on my own. So that part of the game he did do.
So what you just mentioned right there, your first 2 tracks that plaqued, is that when you was working with Domino?
Yeah, from the Banging on Wax was the first. We were successful with that, the RAA or IAA, association. They didn't properly do the sound scans to officially make that record go, but really that record was gold, Banging on Wax. And a best friend of mine's, 2 best friends of mine, one is deceased, which is Tweety Bird Lowe from Compton, and my boy Cluso, aka David Lindley, came to me and brought opportunity for me to be a part of Banging on Wax, and I found Domino through my best friend. So by that happening, I was able to find a unique talent that I never heard before that could sing and rap. Nate Dogg was doing this thing, and Mixmaster Spade was doing their thing, but he was more advanced as an artist that could really sing like from the church and R&B,
right,
as well as rap like Nate. So that was my first opportunity to get a whiff of his talent, and he wanted to do something beyond the project that we did, but it was a perfect opportunity for us all to be heard collectively, and it was successful. We had sponsors like Avion, Jack in the Box, Channel 7, Channel 11. It ended up having Jim Brown, Pam Grier behind us, it was a unique thing.
Oh man.
It felt like for us to have such an effect and a magnitude on the community, and it affected corporate America, they thought we could possibly change the narrative about gangbanging, and maybe it could make the community a little bit more safer. No one never thought of that idea and thought that it would be successful to a certain degree to get Crips and Bloods on vinyl,
Right.
and then battle it out that way instead of with guns and physical violence. And we was hoping that the second album and the business would have been successful enough to have changed the narrative and the topic. The next album would have been us banging against each other on white. We would have been able to tell our story like Grandmaster Flash and the Fierce Fives, or Ice Cube or Ice-T. We would have been the perfect narrators that way, instead of being the actual voice of the people who was oppressed and are in a dark place, you know, in from the culture and the lifestyle of gangbanging.